Hey everybody, I am here with Jana Hausburg from the Metropolitan Library System's cataloging department. She's the one who gets all the new, well, one of the ones who gets the new books when they come in and does her magic with them, puts little labels on them and stuff, and gets them out to all of us. So for that reason, we're glad to have you here. We thank you for that.
Thank you.
But you have also written your first book.
I have. It is a book called It Wasn't Much, True Tales of 10 Oklahoma Heroes.
Okay. And it's written for what age group?
We aimed it at 4th to 9th grade.
Okay. It wasn't much, and it's now heroes. Are we talking about Wiley Post and guys like that?
No. When most people think about Oklahoma, they do think about the big four, famous Oklahomans. You think of Will Rogers or Jim Thorpe, Woody Guthrie, and maybe Wiley Post. And there's a lot more to Oklahoma history than just those four, who are great. They're really great people. But we, when I say we, I talk about 46 Star Press also, is the one who approached me about writing the book. My colleague and friend, Larry Johnson, wanted to start a publishing company to tell stories about Oklahoma to Oklahoma children. And the research that we did showed that there was a real lack of information for kids about Oklahoma history. So, this is how the book came about.
Okay. And if that name Larry Johnson sounds familiar to people, it's because they've seen it read about it every week. Larry writes the Oklahoma Moments and Oklahoma Images segments that we do every week. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to Oklahoma history.
And he maintains the Oklahoma Collection, and that's where some of these stories came from. He would be doing his research and said, oh, this is great, we need to tell the story. Do you want to write the book? Sure, I'll write the book, I said.
Okay, well, I was wondering, where you did get the stories, the backgrounds on these people. Some of them, I can see that it would be not that hard to find some information, but others, the stories are really rather obscure, and I wondered how you came up with them.
A lot of it comes from primary resources and from letters. We got a lot of newspaper articles, read a lot of biographies, and you had to kind of extrapolate the information from them. And we did some interviews with family members and friends.
Oh, that's interesting. I wasn't really aware of the fact that you got out and did some interviewing.
Yeah, we talked to, I talked to Reuben Rivers, his brother, who was served in France, and I can tell you more about some of the different characters. But we talked to his brother, who is still alive, and I talked to a granddaughter of one of the subjects, Ruth Brown's granddaughter, and that was really neat. So we got a lot of information from various sources and just kind of pulled it all together.
I liked the collection, the selection of people that you had in there. You had some men and you had some women and you had some Native Americans and some African Americans. It was a nice selection. But who was your favorite of the 10?
Well, every time I did the research, that was my favorite person. But at the end of the day, I have to say Ruth Brown, as a librarian, she was a personal hero of mine because she was a librarian in Bartlesville. And this is in the early 1950s. She pushed for integration of her library to her African American customers and community. And this was pretty cutting edge.
Even the library was segregated in those days, huh?
Yes, but she wanted to make sure that every reader would be welcomed into the library, and she actually lost her job because of this viewpoint.
One of the things I liked about the structure of the book is you kind of do little sidebars where you define some of the words, because writing for elementary school kids, some of the words needed to be
right, and this is an internet generation. It has to be visually interesting for anyone to pick it up. So we thought, well, a glossary at the back of the book, that's so 1970s.
Nobody would use that,
So we did a little pop-out box. We also tried as much color as we could afford. It was a blue box that places each subject into historical context. And we tried to include primary sources that would give maybe a slightly different perspective of the event, and just to try and be visually appealing to the child as well as interesting. And I hope the writing stands by for itself for being really trying to pull the child in, but we also have to keep them interested in the visuals.
Yeah. Now, did you do that research for the little pop-outs yourself, or did
my
Buddy help with that?
My helper, my editor, I call him, Larry did that.
I'm sorry, his nickname is Buddy, and I always want to call him that, although I think he doesn't like it as much as I do. Did you work with a limited vocabulary? I mean, did you ever stop and say, "Oh, can't use that word, too many syllables"?
Yeah, we have to be aware of the readability, because not only are we trying to aim for the high-end 4th grade reader, but the 9th grader as well, which is why some of the history pages are a lot more dense, and some of the kids who weren't ready for that will just skip over it. But we did run a program that analyzed it for readability. And you have kind of break up the sentences a little bit more, think some about the vocabulary, and we went through it with an eye toward what might not be understood at first by the reader, and that's where the glossary terms popped out.
Now, this is a first book in a series, it looks like. What is the series title?
It's Oklahoma Portraits.
Oklahoma Portraits. Am I right? Is it going to be a series?
It is a series, yeah. We thought, well, the first book has to be about Oklahoma heroes. And we've got people in there who risked their lives, who actually did die in the service of their country or for others. We've got people a woman who served in Iraq. We have a nurse in the World War II, I'm sorry. We've got a Vietnam prisoner of war. It's a whole range, and it's real interesting and exciting. And then our second book is going to be aimed at civil rights, the civil rights heroes of Oklahoma. And I'm currently working on a volume which would be Oklahoma Lawmen and Outlaws.
Now that would be fun. That would be fun.
That's a fun one. Yeah, it's going to be, we tried to, like you noticed, that we tried to include a broad range of people, and gender and race. It's going to be slightly difficult to get a lot of women outlaws, but I'm working on it.
You always have Belle Starr.
Yeah, we got her, but she really wasn't as bad as you think she was.
Oh, how about Ma Barker? Are you going to?
She's on my list.
She's on the list.
But we start with a broad list and kind of narrow it down until we have our 10.
Okay, well, that's the gamut of Oklahoma bad women that I know of. So
maybe we'll be able to uncover somebody.
Let's wrap this up. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate having you. Do you have any idea when the next book might be coming out?
In the series, no, but the publishing company, 46 Star Press, has a book of Oklahoma Tales and Legends that is coming out fairly, soon, in the next 3 months or so, and we'll just keep plugging away.
Okay. Does the publisher have a website?
It's 46starpress.com.
Okay.
46 Star Press, named after Oklahoma being the 46th state
to join the union. Okay, Jana, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Congratulations on the book.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right.